those words out. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. My name is Hannah and I am a thriller and horror author from the south of England. I make videos about writing, reading, researching and marketing, so if that sounds like your cup of tea, please do consider subscribing. Today is Saturday. I never post videos on Saturday. The only time I do post videos on Saturday is when it is Wordstock. Yay! Today is Wordstock 5, also known as the Author Seminar Series, created by Robert over at The Story Detective. Wordstock has really quickly become one of my absolute favourite things about Authortube because it brings together so many people from all different areas of Authortube, all different places around the world, all different ages and levels of experience, and brings us all together to chat about the craft of writing. Who better to learn from than other writers? This Wordstock is all about story structure. I've linked Robert's playlist in the description below and in the cards wherever they live. So Robert normally puts together a playlist where everyone's videos will go from today. Please do go check them out. I will absolutely be watching all of them pretty much all of Saturday. Story structure. I'm going to be honest with you. I personally find story structure a little bit intimidating and quite overwhelming. People swear by all sorts of methods, anything from the Save the Cat method to the hero's journey, the 3-act structure, the snowflake method. There are so many different methods and everyone seems to have a different favourite one. When I first started writing, I honestly did not really know any of the methods in any particular detail, and because I found the subject quite intimidating and overwhelming, I kind of just ignored it. Clever. But obviously, since writing number 47 this time last year, I figured I ought to learn a bit more about the different methods. And let me tell you, the more I read, the less I feel like I know. I'm still overwhelmed. So when Robert sent around the Wordstock doc for this particular Wordstock, and I saw that it was all about structure, I had a teeny panic. And then I had an idea. So then I had an idea and a panic. As there is so much to the world of story structure, I figured that we would spend this video looking at the 3 most Authortube famous, or the ones I've seen most on Authortube, structure methods, and basically talk about the pros and cons and how they compare to each other. The 3 we'll be looking at are the 3-act structure, the hero's journey, and the Save the Cat method. So, first up is the 3-act structure. 3-act structure is arguably the simplest of all the structures. You'll recognise it, you'll know it inside out, even if you don't think you do. So, just in case, what is the 3-act structure? As the name suggests, the 3-act structure splits your story into 3 acts. Who knew? Act 1. Your hero is happy and comfortable in their lives until a villain is introduced. Act 2. Your hero comes into conflict with your villain, therefore leading to the middle of the novel or the adventure. Act 3. The adventure leads to the climax, the final battle, and of course the end of your novel. The best thing about the 3-act structure is you absolutely already know it. It is super simple, very easy to explain, and yeah, even if you've not specifically learnt about it, virtually every single book you ever read will have some hint of the 3-act structure in it. Potentially the worst thing about the 3-act structure is it is super simple, which means there is a lot of room to go off on tangents, to lose your way in the structure, and to hit a brick wall. Next up, we have the hero's journey. This method is hugely popular, tried and tested by just about every author out there, and again, quite simple to understand. There's a little bit more to it than the 3-act structure, but they kind of go hand in hand. Essentially, you have a hero. For argument's sake, let's call your hero Quilbo, who has nothing to do with Bilbo at all. Quilbo is happy at home, eating second dinner. They're comfortable, they're happy in their comfortableness, and pretty much never want to change until an outside force, let's say Gandalf, knocks on the door, declaring that there is some kind of evil or villain that needs defeating and an adventure that needs to be gone on. Gandalf may even end up being their mentor. Who knows? Anyway, they decide they will now embark on an adventure where they will inevitably struggle, make what looks like a bit of progress, struggle a bit more, hit their low point, figure out how to defeat the baddie, and then return home having learned lots about themselves and completely changed as a person. Sound familiar? The hero structure is incredibly familiar because it is so widely used and understood. However, you might find it too prescriptive. And in some ways it can feel tricky to use for other genres that don't have literal heroes and literal villains. Again, though we know that a villain doesn't necessarily have to be a superhero villain, it can be anything from a war, a tsunami, a literal bad character. It can still be quite hard to transfer the hero's journey to other genres. Finally, we have the Save the Cat method. Whenever I go on Authortube, virtually every time I go on Authortube to explore any new Authortubers out there, this thing will come up. Someone else will be reading it, someone else will be testing it. It's everywhere. And I'll be honest, when I first read it, it blew my tiny mind. The Save the Cat method, written by Jessica Brody, breaks your story down into 15 beats across 3 acts. The beats are things like the catalyst, where your character will eventually receive a call to action and decide whether or not to take it. The all is lost beat, where it kind of sounds quite prescriptive, where it kind of looks like your character may have lost. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they have a false victory or a false defeat. And the final image, where everything comes to a head and a resolution is achieved. The Save the Cat method is really great for getting into your main character's head and making sure that you have a really developed character arc. However, a lot of people do find the 15 beats quite prescriptive and they can be quite stifling for creativity. A common grumble I've heard about the Save the Cat method across Authortube is that the 15 beats can be seen as so prescriptive that you can be stuck in an outlining position for months on end and basically fall out of love with your idea. Which is essentially what happened to me last Nano with One Road In. So of the 3 methods that you see across Authortube the most, which one is best? I think the real answer to that question is none, or all of them. The thing about story structure is it is there to form the foundations of your story. It should allow you to feel free and creative enough to build out a really well realised and vivid plot. However, no one structure is the best for any particular genre. The best thing about all of this, about writing a novel in general, is that we as authors have the freedom and the creative license to pick and choose which elements of each structure or technique you may like the best. Writing a novel is a completely individual process. Although obviously on Authortube we all want to work together and learn from each other, how you essentially write your novel is specific to you. There is no one size fits all. For me personally, on go 3 of One Road In, I have realised that my preferred structure for this particular novel is Save the Cat, but it's pared down. So though I have the 3 acts underlying the Save the Cat, which you're meant to have in a Save the Cat layout, I don't have all 15 beats and they're not all in exactly the right place. So they're not in the prescribed place. So at the end of the day, when you are structuring your novel, when you're working out what kind of structure you want it to have, I think it's important to remember that there is no one size fits all and it can be quite a bit more fluid than you might think. Things are allowed to change. So that is all for this week's chat about structure. I really hope it has been useful. I genuinely feel like I've learned a thing or two and I still have quite a bit more to learn. And I cannot wait to get stuck into everyone else's videos. If everyone has managed to get involved this time round, I think there are a total of 24 videos. So grab a really big cup of tea and get stuck in. That's what I'm gonna do. I guess I'll meet you in the comments. Again, please do check out all of the other authors that have been involved. The playlist will be up in the cards and in the description below, as well as a link to Robert's channel. Absolutely check out Robert's channel. He is meticulous and creative and his videos are entertaining and you should absolutely subscribe to him if you haven't already. If you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks again for watching. I will see you next week with another video. Bye!